There's some encouraging news for local school districts. San Diego Unified and Chula Vista Elementary are currently being studied to find out what they're doing right. This after students of color tested higher than predicted and higher than other students with similar backgrounds in other districts. I'm joined now by San Diego Unified Superintendent Cindy Marten. Welcome.
Thank you.
So researchers have named San Diego Unified as one of the highest performing large school districts. Who deserves the credit for that?
Well, I'll always say, first of all, our students. What we know after being a classroom teacher for 17 years, I know that when you give students the right kinds of supports, you have high expectations, and you have a quality teacher in the classroom, kids are going to do amazing things. And I think San Diego should be really proud to know that our students are shining on this report. That's a positive outlier report, and it's basically saying that San Diego kids are beating the odds. And for San Diego Unified to be able to say that we've expected more of our students, we've been able to provide them the supports that they need, and to have a study like this come out that validates the hard work of our teachers and our educators every single day to make something like this happen is exactly why we do the work we do.
And as a former classroom teacher, what was your personal reaction that the teachers and the students were being recognized in this way?
Well, anytime you can look at the entire state and say that a district is beating the odds, which is what this report did. This report is out of Stanford, the Learning Policy Institute. This report was led by Linda Darling-Hammond, who is a researcher that I have followed since I was a classroom teacher, and she is now the chair of the State Board of Education. So it's a very important study. And she asked the question, how's California doing? 5 years into some education reforms that happened at the state level, she began to say, so where do we have some districts that are beating the odds? And let's let the numbers guide the way here. Where are the lighthouse districts? Where are the positive outliers? And as a classroom teacher, I've always known that when you can put the right supports in place and you can focus on excellence and equity all at the same time to interrupt old patterns and create outcomes like you've seen, to get a validation like this from Learning Policy Institute coming out of Stanford is exactly what's important for validating where we are and the work that we have left to do. I'm just really proud of San Diego and what our kids have done.
So when you pair excellence with equity, what does that look like in a school district?
Yeah, some people like to go about it with, we're either going to be excellent in some places and then have equity in other places. For us, it's not an either or, it's an and. And when we defined equity in San Diego Unified, we talk about individual student needs. For us, equity means each and every student gets what he or she needs when they need it, in the way that they need it. And that looks different across the entire city, but we're committed to, we're going to have excellent learning conditions all over the city. What this report shows is that when students have greater need, you need to give greater supports. That's an investment that you make, and it's a belief system that you have. Another simple way of saying it is we expect our principals and our teachers to know each and every student by name and by need. When you know students by name and by need, no matter how big or small your campus is, you're able to design the instructional supports that are needed for that child to be able to learn in the classroom. And if there's additional supports that a child needs to be able to learn in the classroom, if there's health and wellness needs that are necessary, social emotional needs, that we can wrap an entire system of support. And it takes a high quality educator to do that. And the report completely validates everything that we've said around excellence and equity and the entire initiative that we've been leading.
But there still is that achievement gap between white students and students of color. What's San Diego Unified doing to address that achievement gap?
Well, and that persistence of the achievement gap has been around for a very long time. And what this study did is actually look at where in the state of California do you have schools or school districts that are beating that odd, that expected. If you look at the demographics of African American, Latino, you control for income and you say, wow, given the same population, these districts are doing something different. It goes back to knowing students by name and by need. How do you interrupt long-standing patterns that have held certain students back by giving teachers the tools that they need in the classroom to give students the differentiated learning that they need? We see each student that comes into our schools with a specific talent, strength, gift, and ability. We say we're a strengths-based district, that every student comes to us with a strength and a talent and a genius that's ours to unlock. And when students come from challenge, that normally that challenge would predict a problem, For us, we see it as a strength. Whether it's your culture, your language, your background, that's a strength and an ability that you bring into our classrooms, and then we create learning and design learning opportunities that are meaningful, that are hands-on, that promote the things that you care about, what your intellect cares about, what your passions are about, and that's how you interrupt the long-standing patterns. That's how you begin to close the gaps.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.